Welcome to Cronos lore in 10 minutes. I will tell you the entire Cronos story in just 10 minutes in a short version. And of course, I hope you like it. If so, feel free to push the thumbs up and maybe also click the new hype button. That is always pretty worthwhile. So I wish you lots of fun with the mysterious story. New Dawn was the city of the future. Modern apartment blocks, a brand new tram, a hospital full of hope, and the massive steelworks as its heart. It was also a place that carried the promise of a new era. But this promise was built on a secret deep underground. The engineers put their drilling project farther and farther, down to a depth of 14 kilometers, deeper than humans had ever dug before. Down there, the drill head suddenly broke and began to melt, followed by a massive explosion. The few survivors later spoke of something inconceivable. They claimed to have heard voices, screams from the depths, as if the gate to hell had been opened. After the catastrophe, the world above ground was no longer the same. At first, only a few fell ill, fewer hallucination, blindness. But soon the true horror revealed itself. Change. Skin secreted fluids, bodies stuck together, and the sick felt an insatiable urge to unite. Some literally fused together, and those who died came back empty, without memory as wandering orphans. The authorities declared a state of emergency, sealed off the steelworks, and sent loudspeakers rolling through the streets. The commons screamed, "Stay in your apartments, avoid contact." But it was already too late. On September 19, 1981, the lockdown began. On November 24, the entire city fell under quarantine. New Dawn turned into a hell of silence, screams and shadows. But that was only the surface, because as the city decayed, the people emerged who, through their decisions, shaped its downfall. In the hospital, Dr. Veronica fought for every patient. For her, the sick were not monsters, but people who had to be saved. She developed toxins meant to kill the growing biomass for a short time. But every time it came back. Stronger, faster, different. Veronica's will to preserve life forced the change to adapt. Her struggle made it more resilient. By her side worked Dr. David Zybert, sober and calculating. For him, the change was not an enemy, but a riddle to solve. But he soon realized the change followed no known biological rules. It was something else, something that had always slumbered beneath the earth. His findings came too late. His reports were ignored. Edward Wyszynski, a friend of Veronica, had seen something even before the Great Outbreak that no one wanted to believe. He spoke of travelers in immaculate suits stepping through glowing cracks in the air. He warned they were stealing essences, not bodies but the souls of people. He plastered leaflets on doors and walls, but people mocked him as crank. Later, when the dead walked, no one was left to contradict him. In the steelworks, the epicenter of the outbreak, worked the brothers Arthur and Gabriel. Gabriel fell ill quickly. At first he suffered from fever and delusions, but soon he began to draw. Over and over, the figure of a man in a suit, imprisoned as if in a cage. Gabriel was already marked by the change, but Arthur clung to his love for his brother and refused to give him up. His devotion brought him to the edge of the abyss. Meanwhile, Sister Eliza Kitts led an abbey with her own daughter. When the change reached the church, she opened the doors for everyone, including the sick. Masses poured inside, shoulder to shoulder, full of fear and hope. There, where they prayed together, the change spread unstoppably. The sick fused together, their voices merging into a core. Eliza was convinced this might be God's will and allowed her church to become the breeding ground of a new concussionist. Each of these people reacted in their own way, with hope, faith, love, or knowledge. but all decisions led to the same result. New Dawn became a place where the change devoured not only bodies but also human souls. With the downfall appeared a man in a spotless suit stepping through the rifts, the Pathfinder. Unlike other travelers, he could create portals himself. His task was the sacred duty to extract the collective essences shortly before death and feed it into the terminal. Thus, the great community would grow. But the Pathfinder began to doubt. He saw how the collective treated humans like tools, and when he encountered Veronica, he was supposed to extract her essence as well. But he refused. He did not only want to save her voice, but her entire self. This break with the collective was the beginning of his tragedy. He took on a new identity, the Warden. In his urge to preserve Veronica, he created ND-3576, a shell of steel and flesh into which he implanted fragments of her essence. But ND-3576 was not Veronica. She was a new being without a past, half human, half machine. Warden lost himself in endless experiments. He tried to bind assassins into shells, sacrificed other travelers, tore open more and more rifts in the world, and each jump ripped reality apart farther. He created anomalies, places where the time and space collapsed. In his love for Veronica, he created even more horror. But the collective had not forgotten him. To them, he was a traitor who disturbed the course of preparation. They could not directly replace him, so they chose another way. They awakened ND-3576 themselves, precisely because the Warden had altered her. She now possessed a core of free will. That made her perfect to track him down and overthrow him. To understand the collective, one must understand the change itself. The change was not a plague from space, but something that had waited beneath the earth for millennia. It only attacked humanity after countless injuries had been inflicted. Those who fused early became part of a new society. Those who failed remained as orphans, tormented by the urge to unite after all. The collective is the final stage of this process. It is no enemy of flesh and blood, but a core of consciousness that have lost their individuality. It does not think like a human, but like a song that needs more and more voices, until it fills the whole world. Listen to the will of those who do not speak. If tools are unwilling, they will be made willing. The collective is the true antagonist. It used the Pathfinder until he failed. It used Warden until he became a problem. And finally, it used ND-3576 to destroy Warden. Everything was part of its strategy to continue the calling. But here lies the paradox. By creating ND-3576, the Pathfinder gave her something the collective despised: free will. And as long as there is even a single voice that refuses to sing along, the core of the collective is not complete. New Dawn lies in ruins. The loudspeakers are silent. The tram stands half in a rift, snow blowing through the empty station. But among all the anomalies, two figures or two voices that refuse to become one. The collective claims everything will become a core in the end. But as long as even a single voice resists, the end is not yet decided. Thus, we also encounter in Cronos a time loop, in which we can ultimately decide whether the loop begins again, and we try to bring Veronica into a new body. Basically, the story is also a bit inspired by Silent Hill. And friends, that was Cronos The New Dawn in 10 minutes. I hope you enjoyed it. Push the thumbs up and subscribe. There are many more videos on the channel. Feel free to check them out. So until next time.